Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. This is going to be another quick aside from the progression that I was wanting. Well, it is still a progression, believe it or not, but it's a admission of how well or how badly we use any software or tool. Sometimes making a mistake goes unseen or underappreciated, and it cropped up in this drawing that I was having difficulty creating the solid steel hubs, and mind you, it does actually show you how much work people do put in, but I would assume those that have done that work knew what they were doing. I'm actually trying to create the solid steel hub so that the struts can have a square cut end, which is advantageous in the construction of anything that's in the 3D arena, because having all those compound cuts that are different becomes a bit of a nightmare to join together neatly, because I see a lot of quite good structures and domes, but structures that get let down by the builder's ability to form the joints. You almost have to be a joiner, what we call a cabinet maker, to be able to get those joins. And because it's an exterior structure, they don't normally stay neat and tidy over time. They shrink and warp, distort one way or the other, unless they're covered and they then mask the roughness or the inaccuracies. With the steel hubs, I think that mitigates a lot of that, because it's actually taking care of the square ends, and it's the steel hub that have been fabricated and joins together. Long way of saying I think it's a better way of approaching it, but a much more involved system. So in drawing my dome with the struts and hubs, I created this, but inadvertently I'd completed the whole thing, but inadvertently I made this strut, and I don't know how the heck I did it, shallower than the rest of them, and you can see it when you look at it. But because you're working in 3D on a flat screen, you can attribute that to the how would you say, the eye's perception of sizes. But nonetheless, when I started drawing up the hubs, I should have picked up that there was some interference here. I didn't. So, and then these, by the way, have been adapted to be squares, and that's why they're a bit of a distance off the ends there. So we zoom into this one, put the hub back in, and it was this little discrepancy here that turns out to be incorrect. And this is, what's my point, David? Well, it is that you've got to check, double check, triple check any of your work, because if you blunder on, and like I have in the drawings, assuming it is correct, you're building in the error right from the get-go. And this was one of the first struts I actually put in my dome. Luckily, the rest of them, I believe, will be accurate and correct. Not only was this an incorrect depth measurement, 81 millimeters instead of 100 millimeters, but looking at it now, I do believe that it's actually rotated in the wrong plane. Now, how the heck I got that, I'm not too sure, and it just reinforces that your methodology needs to be robust, and that's where I'm at the moment with the drawing procedure. To get to this stage is that base structure needs to be robust, and it also has to be well understood, so that when you make a mistake, which is almost inevitable, you can go back to that robust drawing process and determine what you did wrong. If you're constantly adapting and fudging, as I keep on alluding to, the drawing to meet an end goal, whereabouts in that fudge, in that adaptation, was your mistake? And is it going to be different for each drawing you create? And that's an important basis upon which you must build upon for the next stage. In my teaching area, it's in sport, but it's a quite a sophisticated, I believe, quite a sophisticated teaching arena. I keep on reinforcing to my students that unless your foundation is solid, whatever you build upon it eventually will result in a inferior movement or technique if the foundation was faulty. It doesn't mean to say there is only one foundation. It does mean that whatever foundation you have has to be strong. And the best one of the foundations is the one that's strong and have proved the test of time for other people. You can adapt foundations as you become more sophisticated, and therefore your structure can be altered. But without that initial starting point, you never know where you will be going wrong. Sometimes I say things are not wrong, but they're bad. Bad for the reasons I've determined, and that may be specific to me, but after 45 years of teaching or training and teaching, I think I have some validity in having made that statement. Now, back to the dome, same thing. If we don't get this right, if we're following along the process, then it becomes very difficult to find the errors. Now, I can, in another video I may do, I will go back and find what that error is and make sure that it doesn't get repeated. Or I don't make a video of it, but I understand it because I haven't made yet a video surrounding the creation of these tubular hubs. But this being the easier hub design means that the more complex hub design, whoops, my apologies for that, might have to edit that out. I'm going to start editing my videos eventually, so after all, I used to say that you're getting warts and all, but that sort of warts and all can be quite nauseating to the old eye when the people zoom in and out like that. But this more complex hub design really requires a thorough understanding of what I was doing in the beginning. So, long story short, confess to your mistakes and correct them and get a better structure as a outcome. Okay, I'm off. I'm back to trying to get this thing sorted so that it resembles something that could be built in the real world. At the moment, it's not. Okay, see you later. Bye.